Hello, thank you for inviting me to join you in this collective act of worship today. Every day, we probably see hundreds of cars go past us or parked up at the side of the road, and all of them should have a number plate on them that looks something like this. But have you ever stopped to wonder what all the letters and numbers actually mean? Well, let me try and explain. The first two characters are called the DVLA memory tag and tell you where the vehicle was registered. The first character tells you the region, the second character tells you the local DVLA office where it was registered. So this vehicle came from Yorkshire, that's what the first Y stands for, and the second Y tells you that it was registered in York. The two numbers that come next, 19 in this case, tell you the year the vehicle was first registered. This one was registered in 2019. If it was 69, then it would mean it was registered in the second half of that year. The last three letters are what they call the unique identifier and are quite random and allocated to the dealer who sold the car. When I was doing my daily exercise walk the other day, I don't know why, but I started making up acronyms out of the last three letters on the car number plates that I saw. One of the first that caught my eye had the letters KGC. Now that was really easy peasy. It stands for Knight Grand Cross, which made me think of Sir David Attenborough, who was made a knight in 1985 and most recently was honoured by the Queen in the Queen's birthday honours list when she appointed him a Knight Grand Cross of the Order of St Michael and St George for his services to television and broadcasting and to conservation. Now, the next car that came along wasn't so grand. It had the letters JVF, and I thought, I know, just very funny. And the car after that had the letters JWS, just want to smile. By now, I was on a bit of a roll playing this game with myself. Spotting some cars parked at the side of the road, I saw JZG. This was a bit harder, but I came up with jumping zebras galore. And I couldn't believe it when the next car I saw had the letters ZWZ. Well, what could that mean? Zebras watching zebras. Well, I was by now getting quite close to home and spotted a car number plate with the letters GLU. And for me, that was easy peasy again. Oops, I should have said GLY. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. God loves you. And it made me think of the number plate on my own car, which is CHP 1T. It looks like a very expensive personalised number plate, but we actually got it almost by chance when my wife Jan worked at the Chrysler Motor Company in Coventry, where she issued company cars to all the managers. That must have been something like 43 years ago, when number plates were completely different, but they held the same sort of information. And she knew all about registering cars as they rolled off the production line. So when we were buying a car that she had issued to one of the managers, who was a friend, she made sure that it had a 1 plate on it. Needless to say, everybody referred to our car as Chippet. That is, until one day a young lass in our church, which was in Bilston near Wolverhampton at the time, came up to me and said, "Hey, Mr. Harris, what does your number plate mean? Because that's the way they speak in Bilston. And I said to her, well, everybody calls it Chippet. She says, no, you don't mean that, Mr. Harris. It means Christ helps people in trouble. And at that time, she really did have some troubles in her life. So from that day to this, whenever anyone asks me what my number plate stands for, I tell them, Christ helps people in trouble. And we've always kept that number plate because it does constantly remind me that God loves us, and in fact he does help people when they're in trouble. Now, did you know that Jimmy Tarbuck, the comedian, has the number plate COM1C, stands for comic, and the late Paul Daniels, the magician, had the number plate MAG1C, stands for magic. Now, in all honesty, I reckon I've got the best. Mind you, mine's not worth as much as theirs. Those two plates are probably worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. But for me, mine spells out something really so important. It says, Christ helps people in trouble. And that means Jesus will help me and he will help you. In fact, Jesus will help anybody who is in trouble. So, when you see CHP1T, if it goes past you, know that it means Christ helps people in trouble. Thanks for listening.